thought this was gonna be a good place to film, but my head is disappearing because my hair is the same color as this wall. So I'm gonna rethink this. All right, I moved down here, which maybe is better, I don't know. Whatever. Hello, welcome. My name is Rosalyn, and this is my chaotic house. In this video, I'm going to talk about house styles, architecture styles, things that I gravitate towards, some interior style also, and then what Gavin and I, my husband and I, plan on doing with the house that we just purchased. Generally, I think a lot of people say don't pigeonhole yourself into one specific style, one certain type of design, because that's the beauty of design, is that there's so many styles, so many ways to do things. And when it comes to people and personality, we kind of ebb and flow through different designs and different types of styles. But I would definitely say the two strongest styles that resonate with me in terms of house, home architecture is the English cottage and the organic modernist eco house. These are the two that I gravitate towards. It's hard to gravitate towards both because they're so different, but looking into both styles a little bit more, I've found that they have more similarities than I initially thought. When we say cottage, I definitely think about the English country cottage. I grew up watching bonnet dramas, and fairy tales, and Barbie movies.
I think of you and how you never let me go.
Studio Ghibli films.
Come in. Gigi, wake up! Tonight's the night!
So all of these romanticize the country cottage, the fairy tale cottage. The beauty of these types of homes is that they have character and age that are kind of embedded there through history. They're old, and that's what makes them so interesting. When I think about a fairy tale cottage, I think of warmth, color, and a space that feels well loved, soft, and ornamented. On the flip side, when we think about modern architecture, not the modern farmhouse, but actual modernism, sometimes there is this misconception that it's cold and hard and it doesn't feel lived in, and the main purpose is that it's functional. According to the Royal Institute of British Architecture, modernism is associated with an analytical approach to the function of buildings, a strictly rational use of often new materials, structural innovation, and elimination of ornament. There was a use of asymmetrical compositions, geometric forms, horizontal lines, modern materials like reinforced concrete, steel frames, and there was the less is more approach with minimal design. Interiors were more neutral and light-filled, so big open windows and some open floor plans with spaciousness. What I've been really loving is organic modernism, and according to the George Clemens Architecture Institute, that is a philosophy of architecture which promotes harmony between human habitation and the natural world. Organic designs allow for buildings to be built within and alongside nature instead of against it. So the idea is to coexist with our natural environment using sustainable design and natural materials. So just like this says, organic modernism isn't butting against nature, but sort of settling into nature and allowing humans to interact and coexist and walk through and in and out of nature while also having a comfortable habitation. One of the most famous architects who pushed organic modernism forward was Lloyd Wright, who pretty much everybody has heard that name, I think. He's that level of household name maybe in the United States specifically. But Gavin and I realized, well, I guess Gavin knew for a while, but I didn't know this until Gavin reminded me that Fallingwater is only like 3 hours away from where we are. And I didn't know that. So Fallingwater is one of Lloyd Wright's most famous builds, and it was a driving distance. So Gavin and I hopped in a car and we went up there for our anniversary. We went to go do the tour, and you are allowed to walk around the grounds and walk around inside, and you can take some photos and some videos, but they're a little bit strict. This was the little booklet that they gave us, but oh my gosh, it was really, really cool and very inspiring. If you ask a child to draw a house, they'll draw a little box with a triangular roof, and that's just what we think of when we think of a house. But modernist design was saying, why do we do that? We don't have to. We have new technology that could allow us to make things more streamlined, to make things more interesting, and to really fold into the landscape in a whole new way, which is what Fallingwater did, and it was cool. I really liked the color palettes that were happening. I think it was so different than I expected. The house was designed in 1935, which is almost 100 years ago, which is crazy to say because it's so modern. When you think of modernism, it's just like time works so strangely. The purpose of the house was to be a retreat into nature and to just settle in and be a part of the landscape. There's like thousands of rhododendron bushes everywhere. I don't know what the elevation was actually, but you do feel like you're kind of sitting in a mountain and there's just a little waterfall underneath the house. The people who lived here, they could kind of go down and just dip their feet in the water. They can look out the windows. In the living room, you're surrounded by windows, so all you see are the trees. You're just fully surrounded by nature, and it's awesome. Like, that's the whole point. The original family that he built it for was the only family to ever live there, and then their son decided to turn it into a museum, so it's been preserved exactly how the original family lived in it with all of their belongings. Earlier I mentioned that like a cottage and a modern home might have more in common than we think, and I think a lot of that has to do with the furnishing. When I was inside Fallingwater, I was really surprised by the decor and how it was styled. Everything was so cozy, and I didn't expect that. And that's like something I think of when it's a misconception about modern design, is that, okay, if you have these sleek lines and big windows, you have to be a minimalist and you have to have white walls. And that's just not true. If that's your style, you know, obviously you go for it, but it did feel like a little bit cottagey. And there was a giant fireplace, and there were just all these areas and all these nooks that you could sit in, and I can imagine reading there and just feeling very peaceful and feeling really cozy. Like, cozy is a word I would use to describe it, which I did not expect. So Gavin and I got really inspired while we were there, inspired by the furnishings, inspired by the color schemes, inspired by some of the building materials. We were seeing a lot of stone floors, concrete floors, types of tile, and the windows, and it was really cool to see something that had been built almost 100 years ago that just resonates and is still an innovative design. The normal house that goes up now looks I don't know. It's sad to think about how maybe this was what a lot of these architects were thinking could be the future, and then instead we've kind of reverted back to boring, ugly houses. It's just a little bit sad. You know, we have to take into account the cost and the money. Like, these people were rich as heck. The final total cost of construction was approximately $148,000. And that was in 38, so I'll find the conversion for inflation and figure out what that is. Probably like a couple $1,000,000, right? So obviously normal people don't have a couple $1,000,000 to build an innovative, beautiful home, sadly. But I guess this is the start of my and Gavin's journey with the house that we just bought, which is a mid-century modern split level. I gotta move the camera. I think I gotta move the camera. It's like dark, right? I don't know. Well, at this point, it's kind of too late. It's fine, it's fine. According to the Idaho Architecture Project, Frank Lloyd Wright is generally credited with the idea of dividing up the home into multiple functional units. The main idea of the design was utilizing as much space as possible without violating building codes and dividing the family space into functional units. More than one separate living area and a connected garage became more important. According to the Historic Dimension series, a student publication series by the UNCG Department of Interior Architecture, the split-level house is not so much a style as it is a specific plan. Characterized by its staggered levels connected via half flights of stairs, the split-level plan offers a unique way of subdividing living areas within the home. In addition to appealing to post-war middle-class homebuyers for its modern layout accommodating the nuclear family living, the plan's multi-level structure made the house look larger than it really was, making it attractive to families who wanted the appearance of a two-story house but could not actually purchase one under the housing guidelines attached to FHA mortgage loans. Research conducted by various architectural historians suggested that the split-level plan has its origins in designs by Frank Lloyd Wright, dating to the early decades of the 20th century. Split-level houses rose to popularity in the early 1950s and fell out of favor by the early 1970s. The reasons for the split level's rapid rise to prominence and equally rapid fall out of it were both practical and aesthetic, and also tied to the specific economic and cultural realities of each decade. In a sense, split levels served to bridge the gap between smaller houses required by the FHA's housing guidelines after World War II and the return to more traditional two-story houses a few decades later. This article talks about how split levels fell out of popularity but are currently regaining popularity. A lot of the comments of my house tour video, people were excited about split levels. A lot of people were saying, I love split levels. And it's so funny because Gavin and I never wanted a split level. We always said it was the last type of house we wanted because we were prejudiced against it. I think because of ones that we had visited growing up, and a lot of those were split foyer houses, and I don't enjoy the layout of split foyer houses. It's a little bit different than a normal split level. When you go into the door, it makes you either go up or down, and it just like throws me off. Also, I think split levels got a lot of flack. I remember a nanny episode. I was trying to find it for this video and I can't find it. I don't know where the clip is. I don't know what episode it's in, but there's an episode where she is talking about how she just wants to settle down and get a split level with this guy, and you know, the audience is all laughing because split levels were seen as like a low class type of house. That's because the ideas were changing from post-war to going back to the traditional two-story or just rancher. If you opted for a split level, you were maybe like lower income, it's just so interesting how all of that works together. Currently, we are in demo mode. There's a lot more wrong with the house than we thought. I mean, we knew there was a lot wrong, but we're doing a lot more work than we initially thought we would have to, especially in the kitchen, which is a little bit of a bummer, and it's just making it take a lot longer. So I wanted to do a kitchen reno video, but that's gonna take a while, unfortunately. But like I was saying initially, our plan is to incorporate multiple types of designs and styles into the house. So we're not just going full mid-century modern. A few people commented on my house tour video saying, oh, it sounds like you're not gonna go mid-century modern because you're gonna get a Hoosier, which is more country. And that's the thing, is that I love country styles and I love mid-century modern styles, and I love eclectic maximalism. I love historic Peranakan interiors. I just love warm, colorful, cozy homes, and however that is achieved is different, I think, for everybody. When we're finished with the house, it's not gonna look like a time capsule of a classic mid-century modern home. It's gonna look like a house that two people live in, you know? Something that Gavin and I both want is the integration of nature, indoor-outdoor spaces, kind of feeling that connection to the outdoors and having spaces that really transition. Like, the awesome thing about this house is that it has a lot of features like the giant windows and you know, the screened-in porch, things that we can connect inside and outside together. Gavin and I really love color, so we're definitely gonna have a lot of colorful spaces. The mood boards that we have are kind of crazy, and that's the thing, is that how the rooms actually turn out probably is not gonna look anything like our inspiration or our mood boards, but getting a little bit of an idea and inspiration, and then kind of letting the room lead, letting the house lead us in where it's gonna end up is something special, and I think it respects the architecture, it respects the original design, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I'm so sorry about all the lighting changes in this video. The sun has been like setting as I've been filming, so the light's weird. Sorry. Also, like, my bangs are weird. They're all going this way. Usually they're not like that. What can I say? So we're looking forward to this adventure, and I'm calling it an adventure because adventures are often fraught with a lot of danger and challenges. We can't even move in yet because it's still not livable. We're working on it. It's really slow because Gavin and I both work a lot, and we're here as much as we can, but even sometimes when we're here, we're just kind of like sitting. Like, my dad came over today and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm gonna be filming." And he was like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna work on the house." And I was like, I was earlier, I swear. But sometimes it just doesn't work the way that you think it will, and that's okay. But it's all exciting stuff, and I'm excited to share this process with you, and hopefully the next video will have some progress to share. Fall is here, so I'm gonna be doing some fall projects as well. That's the thing, I want to work on my art also, but so much of my stuff is in storage, which is really sad. I just can't wait to be in this space and actually live here. And I know that's gonna be maybe a little bit longer than I thought it would until that happens, and that's okay. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
The life of Rosalind is the life for me.
I should have just turned the camera this way. I really wanted the tile wall in the background. That was why, but you couldn't even see it. But this is how I should have been filming. Ugh, but that's like creepy back there. You know. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're getting ugly footage. But there's lots of pictures that I'm sharing, so that'll cover my face for most of the video.